93 million Americans visited Mexico last year. Most see the Mexico what Hollywood shows them, tinted in sepia and stripped of its depth. Before the border, before the conquistadors, before anyone called it Mexico, civilizations rose here that mapped the stars, built cities larger than Paris, and created agricultural systems feeding millions. Then came 5 centuries of stories told by everyone, except the people who actually live here. The resort ads, the border debates, the Netflix documentaries. But those stories aren't lies. They're just incomplete. Because between the headlines lives the real Mexico. 130 million people. If you think you already know Mexico, just give this video 30 minutes. Because by the end, it might change the way you think and the way you've ever heard about Mexico. This is Mexico, the side the news will never show you. If you've only seen Mexico through the news or travel ads, you probably think you already know it. But what if I told you the inner side of Mexico? A quieter one, a place that once carried a dark past, but now stands as a symbol of transformation. Let me tell you about Mazunte. Back in the 1970s and 80s, Mazunte was the heart of Mexico's sea turtle slaughter industry. Tens of thousands of turtles were killed here every year for their meat, shells, and oil. For locals, it wasn't cruelty, it was survival. Turtle hunting fed families, built homes, and defined life here. Then, in 1990, Mexico did something unthinkable. It banned all sea turtle hunting. Overnight, Mazunte's entire economy collapsed. People lost their jobs, their way of life, their identity. But this is where the story takes a turn. Instead of giving up, the people of Mazunte decided to change. They learned new ways to live through ecotourism, small guest houses, and protecting the same turtles they once hunted. The same hands that once took life from the ocean now work to preserve it. Today, Mazunte feels like a small miracle. This tiny coastal village rests along the Pacific, where the waves crash softly against untouched golden sands. The beaches here curve gently, framed by cliffs and jungle, and the air smells of salt and sun-warmed wood. The ocean glows a deep turquoise, shifting shades with every passing cloud. There's no noise of traffic here, no rush, just the rhythm of waves and the sound of life unfolding slowly. Standing here, you start to understand that Mazunte isn't just a beach. It's a story of redemption, a reminder that beauty can rise from brokenness. What if I told you there's a rock in central Mexico that dwarfs all the pyramids you've seen in pictures? And it wasn't built by human hands, but by the earth itself over 100 million years ago. Welcome to Peña de Bernal, the third largest monolith on Earth. rising 1,421 feet above the colonial town of Bernal, Querétaro. To put it in perspective, it's taller than the roof of the Empire State Building. Yet despite its size and significance, most travelers pass right by it, unaware of the stories it holds. In the 17th century, Peña de Bernal wasn't just a mountain, it was a lifeline. Villagers used its steep slopes and hidden caves as a refuge from bandits and raiders, keeping their families and livestock safe from harm. Over time, it also became a guiding landmark for travelers crossing central Mexico, a silent sentinel pointing the way through the rugged valleys and hills of Querétaro. You can climb Peña de Bernal, but only halfway. The final 600 feet of sheer vertical rock are reserved for expert climbers. Most visitors stop at the midpoint, catching their breath at around 7,200 feet above sea level. The towering summit that seems almost impossible to reach. From here, the view stretches endlessly, as if the world itself pauses beneath the rock's ancient presence. At the base of Peña de Bernal lies the charming town of Bernal, a pueblo mágico known for its timeless beauty. Cobblestone streets wind gracefully between pastel-coloured colonial houses, their clay-tiled roofs and wooden doors giving the town a picture-perfect charm. The layout and architecture create a warm, inviting atmosphere where history and daily life blend seamlessly. Let me tell you about Cabo Pulmo, a place so remote and protected that it's basically the opposite of everything you think you know about coastal Mexico. Back in the 1980s, Cabo Pulmo was on the brink of collapse. This small fishing village on Baja California's East Cape had overfished its coral reef for decades, and the once thriving waters were nearly empty. Fish populations had plummeted by 95%, leaving families who had relied on the sea for generations struggling to survive. Their livelihoods, their way of life, was disappearing right before their eyes. Then, in 1995, the community made an extraordinary choice. They stopped fishing completely and worked with the Mexican government to declare Cabo Pulmo a national marine park. Instead of chasing short-term profit, they chose the long-term survival of their home and their waters. Today, Cabo Pulmo is considered the most successful marine reserve in the world. Fish biomass increased by 463% in just 10 years, and the waters are once again teeming with life. Sea lions playfully glide through the shallows. Whales make seasonal appearances, and colorful species like surgeonfish dart among the coral. Creating a vibrant, living underwater tapestry that feels almost magical. In 1975, local families came together to form a cooperative and open Tolantongo to visitors. Everything you see here, the hanging bridges, the campsites, the small restaurants, was built by the community and is still maintained by them, with all the profits staying local. Most travelers don't even know this place exists. This place is nestled deep within a canyon, 3 hours north of Mexico City. Grutas de Tolantongo is a place where hot springs emerge from limestone caves at around 100 degrees Fahrenheit, spilling into natural infinity pools that cascade down the cliffs. Dozens of these pools, perfectly heated, are linked by waterfalls, winding streams and tunnels, all carved by water over thousands of years. The name Tolantongo means place where it feels warm. The waters have long been believed to have healing powers, and standing in a mineral-rich pool surrounded by steam, it's easy to see why. The beauty here isn't just in the water, it's in everything around you. The canyon stretches for miles, with cliffs soaring up to 1,600 feet on either side, dotted with jagged rocks and pockets of green vegetation. Sunlight filters through the cliffs, bouncing off the turquoise pools and making the water sparkle like liquid glass. All around, waterfalls tumble into the pools, their roar blending with the soft songs of birds. For a moment, it feels like the world beyond the canyon doesn't exist. It's just you, the cliffs, and the warm flowing waters, alive with movement, color, and sound. San Miguel de Allende is where Mexican independence really began. In 1810, Ignacio Allende, the man the city is named after, helped spark the rebellion against Spanish rule. This wasn't just another colonial town, it was a center of revolution. Decades later, in the 1930s, San Miguel de Allende began an entirely new chapter. After World War II, American veterans discovered the town through the GY Bill. With art classes, affordable living, and endless spring-like weather, the town transformed almost overnight. Streets once marked by revolution now buzzed with artists, writers, and dreamers, and San Miguel quickly became Mexico's creative capital, alive with color, music, and imagination. And then there's the city's crown jewel, the Parroquia de San Miguel Arcangel, a neo-Gothic cathedral that looks like it belongs in Europe. But here's the twist. It was designed in the 1800s by a self-taught indigenous architect who studied Gothic architecture from postcards. Today, San Miguel is more expensive, yes, but it hasn't lost its soul. It isn't just a town you see, it's a place you feel. The streets twist and turn like they've grown organically over centuries, lined with pastel-colored houses that glow softly in the morning sun. San Miguel's beauty isn't just in its architecture, it's in the energy of its streets. The mix of old and new, the way daily life flows effortlessly alongside history and art. Around 500 BCE, the Zapotecs made a decision that would change everything. They chose to build their capital on a mountaintop. But this wasn't just any hill. It was rugged, uneven, and completely impractical. Still, they were determined. They reshaped the land itself, carving and leveling the entire summit by hand, moving millions of tons of rock and soil to create a vast flat city nearly 1,300 feet above the valley floor. What they built up here became one of the first great cities of the Americas. At its peak, over 25,000 people lived here. From this high vantage point, the Zapotecs could see for miles in every direction, watching over the valleys that sustained them. The city wasn't just functional, it was brilliantly organized. It became a political, cultural, and economic powerhouse of its time. A place where ideas, trade, and influence flowed across the valleys of Oaxaca. For more than a millennium, Monte Albán stood as the heart of Zapotec civilization. But then, around 850 CE, something changed. The people began to leave. There's no evidence of war, no signs of destruction, just an eerie stillness that crept over the city. It's as if the Zapotecs decided their time on the mountain was over, leaving behind stone reminders of their brilliance and mystery. Most people think the bluer the water, the deeper it must be. But at Agua Azul, it's opposite. The Zanil River flows over limestone rich in calcium carbonate, and when sunlight hits it, the minerals scatter the light into a surreal electric blue. It's like watching science and art collaborate in real time across the jungle. And here's the twist. That iconic turquoise color, the one on every postcard, only exists half the year. Come during rainy season, and the falls run brown and wild with sediment. These waters flow through the ancestral lands of the Cholmaya, people who've guarded this place for centuries. In the 1980s, when the government tried to take control, the community fought back and won. Today, they manage everything themselves: the trails, the entrances, even the preservation of the forest that cradles these falls. Yet, Agua Azul also carries a quiet warning. Every year, visitors underestimate its power. Beneath those bright pools are invisible currents strong enough to pull a person under. The locals know this. They've seen it too many times. In 2019, a tourist from Mexico City was swept away after slipping on the rocks, vanishing in seconds despite standing just a few feet from the shore. Search teams found his body a day later, far downstream. The signs are there, written by hand, pleading for caution. But too often, visitors ignore them. Here, beauty doesn't forgive carelessness. You think the Grand Canyon is the only place that can take your breath away. Let me tell you about Sumidero Canyon. But beauty isn't the only story here. In 1528, when Spanish conquistadors arrived in Chiapas, the Chiapanec people faced an impossible choice: surrender or freedom on their own terms. Hundreds of families leapt into the canyon rather than surrender. To this day, locals call parts of the cliff El Salto de los Indios. This canyon is no ordinary landscape. Over 35 million years, the Grijalva River carved its way through solid limestone and granite, shaping a gorge so deep that sunlight barely touches the river below. Waterfalls cascade down its sheer cliffs, and as you drift through by boat, it feels like gliding through the very veins of the earth. With canyon walls rising nearly twice as high as the Empire State Building, surrounding you in an awe-filled, almost sacred silence. Back in 1984, Mexico made a rare decision, one that would change the country's approach to tourism forever. After watching other coastal destinations grow too fast, the government decided to do things differently. They chose Huatulco and said, Let's build something that works with nature, not against it. So they planned every detail with care. By law, no building can rise higher than a palm tree, and nearly 70% of the region is protected as a nature reserve. That means most of Huatulco will stay just as it is, wild, green, and full of life. It became Mexico's first eco-planned resort, a rare experiment in sustainable tourism that actually succeeded. But Huatulco's story goes much deeper than the 1980s. Centuries ago, this coast was home to the Zapotec and Mixtec people, communities that thrived along these fertile shores. The name Huatulco comes from the old Zapotec word Coatulco, meaning the place of the trees. Walking through Huatulco today, and it still feels like nature's kept its secret. 9 bays, 36 beaches, and water so clear you can see the ocean floor shimmer beneath your boat. Each bay has its own personality. Cacaluta. It's wild and untouched, accessible only by boat or a forest trail. El Órgano is calm and secluded, framed by green hills and gentle waves. A favourite spot for locals who want peace away from the crowds. And La Entrega is perfect for boating. Calm, crystal clear, and surrounded by gentle slopes of green. The water here stays glassy even when the ocean beyond turns rough, making it ideal for small boats to glide effortlessly along the coast. It's one of those few places where human presence feels balanced, not dominant. Where you don't just visit nature, you live within it. Whenever Mexico hits the news, it's usually about danger, cartels, crime, or drugs. Movies don't help either, showing endless chaos and violence. But that's not the Mexico you see when you walk through Campeche. Step into this city, and what you find is something entirely unexpected. Campeche wasn't just any port. In the 1600s, it was the most attacked city. Spanish ships unloaded silver, spices, and goods here, making it a prime target. Year after year, the city burned, ships were stolen, and lives were upended. The people had enough. They took action to protect their city, and their efforts worked. Campeche became a stronghold, one of the few cities in the New World to survive repeated attacks, and traces of that resilience are still visible today. And those colourful buildings you see lining the streets, they weren't painted for tourists. Back in the 1700s, the Spanish colonial government instructed that each building be painted a different bright shade. So sailors could recognize the city from the sea. Yellow, pink, blue, green. The streets themselves became a navigation system long before GPS existed. Walking through Campeche today, it's easy to forget the centuries of conflict that shaped it. People live and work here, The city feels both vibrant and timeless. Feels both vibrant and timeless. A place where history and daily life exist side by side, where every corner whispers stories of survival, resilience, and beauty. Most people think of Mexico as crowded cities or endless beaches, but tucked away in the mountains of Puebla is Zacatlán, a town full of charm, history, and natural beauty. Zacatlán is famous for its apple orchards and lush landscapes. Apples were introduced here in the 17th century, and over time, the town became known for producing some of the region's finest fruit. Zacatlán's history dates back to 1562, when it was officially founded. During the Mexican War of Independence, the town became a strategic hub, producing weapons and supporting the Puebla government. That spirit of endurance is still visible today. Nature lovers are drawn to Zacatlán for more than its history. The Cascadas de Tulimán, a stunning waterfall plunging over 300 meters, is framed by dense green forests. Beyond the falls, Zacatlán's beauty unfolds in its misty mountain landscapes. Sunlight filters through the clouds in the mornings, casting a golden glow over the town. Zacatlán offers a blend of history, culture, and natural beauty, making it a must-visit destination for those seeking an authentic Mexican experience. Authentic Mexican experience. You won't believe this, but Sayulita, this vibrant little town on Mexico's Pacific coast, was once so small that most maps didn't even show it. In the 1960s, it was just a sleepy fishing village, hidden from the world. Sayulita's waves were too good to stay a secret for long. Yet, unlike many other coastal towns in Mexico, it never got overrun by massive resorts. In the 1980s, when developers tried to build large hotels, local families stood their ground. They fought to protect their homes, their beaches, and the soul of the village. And they succeeded. Beyond the waves, the town bursts with color. Charming houses and streets invite visitors to explore, soak in the history. And experience the vibrant, welcoming community that makes Sayulita so special. Real de Catorce was one of Mexico's richest cities. In the 1700s, silver poured from the mountains, and at its peak, around 40,000 people called it home. The town thrived on mining wealth, buzzing with energy and ambition at every corner. But the prosperity was fragile. By the late 1800s, the richest silver veins had been exhausted, and mining became increasingly unprofitable. Economic decline hit hard, and by the early 1900s, people began leaving in droves. The population dropped to under 1,000. Entire neighborhoods were abandoned, buildings crumbled, and Real de Catorce slowly became a ghost town, frozen in time for decades. Today, Real de Catorce has quietly become one of Mexico's most fascinating destinations. Fewer than 1,500 people actually live here full-time, yet nearly 1 million travelers visit every year. On weekends, especially during holidays, thousands make the long, winding journey into the mountains just to feel what this place is all about. And yet, despite those numbers, Real de Catorce never feels crowded. Maybe it's the isolation, perched nearly 9,000 feet above sea level, surrounded by endless desert and hills that stretch to the horizon. The streets remain narrow and cobblestoned. The houses, weathered by centuries of wind and sun, still stand as they always have. Even as more people discover it, Real de Catorce still feels untamed. A living ghost town where every stone seems to whisper the story of its past. A 1,000 years ago, long before tourists arrived, Chichén Itzá was the beating heart of the Maya civilization. Built around the 5th century, it became one of the most powerful cities in Mesoamerica, a hub of science, architecture, and trade that connected distant cultures across the region. The name Chichén Itzá means "at the mouth of the well of the Itzá," named after the nearby sacred cenote that provided water and life to the city. The Maya were brilliant builders and thinkers, and nowhere is that more evident than in El Castillo, the Great Pyramid that dominates the city's heart. This wasn't just a structure of stone, it was an astronomical calendar carved into the earth. Each of its 4 sides has 91 steps, and with the top platform included, it totals 365, one for every day of the solar year. During the spring and autumn equinoxes, sunlight creates the illusion of a serpent gracefully descending the steps, proving how precisely the Maya understood the rhythm of the cosmos. By the 13th century, the city began to decline. Trade routes shifted, political struggles grew, and slowly, the jungle swallowed what was left. For centuries, Chichén Itzá lay silent beneath the trees. Today, its stone structures rise once again under the Yucatan sun. Chichén Itzá stands not as a ruin, but as a masterpiece, a reminder that the Maya built not only with stone, but with knowledge, vision, and timeless precision. Millions of years ago, this entire valley lay beneath an ancient sea. When the ocean slowly disappeared, it didn't leave behind emptiness, it left behind life. In the shallow pools that remained, tiny microorganisms kept thriving in the mineral-rich waters. The microorganisms in these waters are some of the oldest forms of life on our planet, the same kind that helped create the oxygen we breathe today. Because of this, scientists often describe Cuatro Ciénegas as a window into early Earth. Even NASA has studied the bacteria here, hoping to understand how life might survive in extreme environments like Mars. Among its many wonders is the blue pool. Its waters shimmer with shades of turquoise and sapphire, so clear that every ripple of sand and strand of algae beneath the surface seems perfectly visible. Not far from it flows the Mesquite's River, winding like a ribbon of glass through the desert. Its mineral-rich waters reflect the surrounding mountains and desert sky, creating scenes so peaceful. When you look at Mexico as a whole, it's easy to see why it captures the imagination of travelers from every corner of the world. This country isn't defined by one landscape, one era, or one story. Today, Mexico stands among the top 10 most visited countries on Earth, welcoming over 40 million tourists each year. And even with its growing popularity, large parts of Mexico remain beautifully unexplored, holding stories that the world has yet to hear. Because in Mexico, beauty isn't just seen, it's felt. Yet what makes it special is the feeling it leaves behind. Whether you're wandering through colonial streets, standing before ancient ruins, or watching the sun melt over desert mountains, you feel something deeper, a connection to history, to people, and to the earth itself.